it's your girl that just Charm and welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, crime and conviction day. I literally don't need any intro anymore because we've been doing this for quite some time. Yes, my hair is black with a little blonde in it. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it probably in another video that's not a crime and conviction video. You know how I do. Okay, so the case that we'll be talking about today is really popular. And if you're a true crime lover, you would have known about it before. If you're not a true crime lover and this is the first time you're hearing about it, even better. Because the first time you're hearing about it is from me. Is that a good thing? I don't know if that's a good thing. And there was a documentary on Netflix about this. I know once something touch Netflix, it blows up. So two things before I start the case though. One, there are some details in this case that some people will find extremely disturbing. Feel free to tap out. It involves crimes against children. And two, I don't usually post photographs of children. I don't even like calling the names, to be honest. But in this case, the children were the victims, and to get that emotional feel across, that emotional feel that I felt, I will be including images of them. We're gonna jump right into it and we're gonna talk about the Chris Watts case. Let's go. Christopher Lee Watts was born on May 16th, 1985. Now, as a child, he didn't have any behavioral issues. His mother described him as the perfect teenager. He played sports from he was about 5 up until 17. He had 2 best friends during his childhood that he actually carried into his adulthood, and that is amazing because people don't usually bring friends that far. You know, it's a rare thing. He was into basketball, baseball, football. He also liked NASCARs. That's like the fast driving. And his dad would take him to see the NASCAR races. He was smart in school. He was quiet and he didn't get into fights. He wasn't like regular teenage boys that would get into trouble or whatever, like I said before. In 2010, Chris sent a friend request to his future wife, Shannon Ruszczyk. At this point in time, when Shannon received a friend request from Chris, she was going through a really rough patch in her life. She was recently divorced in 2009, so she was dealing with that. She recently found out that she had lupus and she quit her job that she had for 9 years. They conversed over Facebook and then they started going out in person. At first, Shannon said she was a bit reluctant and she was standoffish, but Chris stood by her and he was amazing. He helped her when she was going through her lupus flare-ups and with the doctor visits and everything. She recalled a time when they were watching TV. She fell asleep on his lap and he did not move. He just allowed her to sleep there for about 4 hours and he was just there watching TV with her on his lap, and she said that was such a beautiful experience for her, and they eventually fell in love. On November 3rd, 2012, the couple got married and then they were blessed with 2 daughters. Bella, she was born on December 17th, 2013. This was also the year that they purchased a 5-bedroom house. And Celeste, who they called Cece, was born on July 17th, 2015. Even though it seemed as if the couple were doing fine, in 2015, I believe it was before Celeste was born, they filed for bankruptcy. In the couple, they were making strides, they were doing good. Shannon was described as the master of the digital phase. She was fun, she was full of life. She was always streaming on Facebook, whether she was streaming about her family life, her love life, her life as a mom, makeup, whatever it was, her whole life was being played out on Facebook. She was working from home selling products for a marketing company, and she was not only good at her job, she excelled at her job. She was so good, she won prizes, she got paid trips, she even got a car that was paid for by her company. Chris was working at a company called Anadarko Petroleum as an oil field operator. From the outside looking in, it seemed as if this couple had the perfect life with the 2 kids. They had a dog. It was just amazing. Chris was an amazing dad. Shannon was an amazing mom. They had amazing kids. Even the parents of the couple, they thought that these 2 found it. But was their life really perfect? Obviously, this would not be a crime and conviction episode if everything was all peaches and rainbows, now would it? On June 11th, 2018, Shannon posted a video where she surprised Chris and said that she was pregnant with their 3rd child.
So pink means...
That's just the test.
I know. It just says the pink is going to be girls.
I don't know. Just the test.
That's awesome.
Chris seemed to be a bit surprised in the video, but he was happy nonetheless, and Shannon was really excited, especially due to the fact that because of her lupus, the first 2 times they had children, they had to get some assistance. But this time it was perfectly natural, no assistance needed. She was pregnant and she really loved this because she really loved being a mom. Was this pregnancy the catalyst for everything that happened afterwards? August 13th, 2018. Shannon just returned home from a business trip. Her friend and colleague offered to take her home from the airport, and this was about 1:48 in the morning, so 1:48 a.m. Shannon had a doctor's appointment that day, and she also had a meeting. She did not turn up to either of them, and she was not answering her phone calls or her texts. So her friend Nicole, thinking that this was not normal, this isn't the usual Shannon thing, turned up to the Watts home and she rang the doorbell and she got no answer. Nicole knew the code to the house, so she typed in the security code and she attempted to open the door, but it was locked from the inside. She found this strange. She looked over and then she saw that Shannon's car was in the garage. So she called Shannon's husband, Chris. Chris picked up the phone and he said, "Don't worry about it. Shannon is at a play date." This didn't sit well with Nicole because she wasn't answering the phone or anything. So she said, "Well, Shannon's car is still in the garage. The children's car seats are in the car. So where is Shannon?" He said, "Don't worry about it," and he hung up the phone. Nicole then drove to the doctor's office to find out if Shannon was there, but she was not. She then drove back to the home, attempted to get inside one more time. It didn't work, so she called the police. So whenever you attempt to open the door in the Watts home, the security system would go off and Chris would have gotten an alert on his phone. So he called her once again to say, "Why are you still there? Could you not attempt to open the door and could you leave?" And she then said that she was calling the police. Chris said, "Do not call the police. He's on his way home." She called the police anyways, and she sat out there and she was waiting on the police. The police came there. They circled the house and went around to the back. They were looking, they were checking, they were knocking, and they weren't getting anyone either. And Chris showed up and the police officers started to question him, ask him, "Do you know where your wife is? Blah, blah, blah. Can we go inside and search the house?" So Chris said, "Yeah, of course, no problem." Chris said that the last time he spoke with his wife was in the morning when he was leaving to go to work. She said that she was going to take the kids to a friend's house. She did not say who the friend was or whatever. That's the only thing that he knows. By the way, from the moment the police got to the Watts home, it is all recorded on body cam footage, even when Chris showed up and everything else. I will be leaving a link to a video that has everything compiled, body cam footage. It has everything. So if you guys want to go and watch that, you guys can. but wait until my video is finished, of course, and then you can like the video and then you can go and watch that compilation. So anyways, they went into the house with Chris and they're searching the house. There was some strange things that just didn't add up. Shannon's purse and her wallet and all of her personal belongings were still on the counter. Why would she go out if her things were still there? Also, her wedding ring was on the nightstand in the bathroom. And the strangest thing was that some medications that Shannon would definitely not leave home without were left in the kitchen. None of the beds in the house were made, and the bed of the master bedroom, it was missing a sheet, and they later found that sheet in the bin of the kitchen. They eventually found Shannon's phone in the house, and this was a huge red flag because of the work that Shannon did. She would not go anywhere without her phone. The neighbor comes by after hearing everything that's going on, and the neighbor is just like, hey, so I have a camera and I could actually show you guys the footage. The only thing that was on the footage was Chris backing his truck into the garage and Chris leaving. When the police pulled the neighbor aside so they could get his information, the neighbor said that Chris was acting very strangely. He seemed to have been nervous and he was swaying back and forth. When they were watching the video, he had his hands on his head. He wasn't really paying attention. He was kind of on his phone. It was just a weird scenario, especially for someone that wife was missing. The next day, Chris did a host of TV interviews pleading for his family to return, and he seemed a bit distraught. Well, he seemed a bit distraught for a few people. Even the journalist that interviewed him said that he seemed so relaxed and he was way too calm. His in-laws said that he seemed emotionless in these interviews. Now you see Chris, he was looking a bit suspicious, okay? So the weeks leading up to Shannon's disappearance, she expressed great concern that her marriage was falling apart. Phone records revealed a few text messages exchanged with Chris confirming this. One of them read, "If you are done, don't love me, don't want to work this out, not happy anymore, and only staying because of kids, I need you to tell me." She also told her friends that Chris wasn't happy anymore and she simply did not know why. He expressed that he was scared to death about the third baby and that he was just happy with Bella and Cece. And because of this, Shannon said she didn't even know who he was anymore. She checked his credit card and saw a charge for an expensive dinner for two. Was Chris having an affair? Is this why his feelings had changed? Well, that's exactly why his feelings had changed. You see, Chris was having an affair with his co-worker, Nicole. Chris and Nicole Kessinger started off friendly, and by the end of June 2018, the affair had started. This was just months before his family's disappearance. They went on multiple dates. They even went on a trip. Chris was hiding pictures of them together and nude pictures of Nicole in an app disguised as a calculator. By the end of July, Chris was Googling when to say I love you, wondering if it's too early, if it's too soon, you know, those general questions. Chris would keep in constant contact with his side chick even when he was on trips with his wife and children. The day of his wife's disappearance and when the police got involved, Chris started deleting conversations, text messages, call logs between him and his side chick. Even though he was deleting all of this, he was still transferring media to his calculator app. When he was questioned by the police and he was asked about infidelity on both ends, he said that he wasn't sure if his wife was cheating, but it was totally possible. And of course, he denied ever being unfaithful. He then told the police that he had fell out of love with his wife over the past few months, and they were speaking about separation. Police also interviewed family, friends, neighbors, and co-workers, and they got a clearer picture of the state of the couple's marriage and a clearer picture of them as individuals. Shannon's parents were very vocal about their suspicions as it regards to Chris's involvement in their daughter's disappearance. The FBI then had to inform Chris that he was a suspect because they simply did not believe that he was being 100% truthful. But they also gave him a way out. They offered him the opportunity to take a polygraph test, and Chris agreed to it. Now, on August 15th, a few hours before the polygraph test was scheduled to take place, authorities were contacted by one of Chris's fellow co-workers, and he said that he found emails between Chris and Nicole. Now, the authorities were aware that Chris was having an affair. Chris was having an affair, and now his wife and his daughters have disappeared. Motive? Maybe. Now, around this same time, another piece of the puzzle was being fitted right in place. When the authorities went to Chris' house the first time, they realized that the car was fitted with a GPS system. So they took this data and they analyzed it, and the data led them to a site. This site was an oil battery site, and we'll tell you more about that site in a quick second. This information was withheld from Chris, so he began his polygraph test, and it's not even surprising, he failed it. The authorities were telling him, hey, you need to tell the truth, you need to help us find your wife and your kids. While the interview was being conducted, the police pulled up to the oil battery site. It was called Civi 319. The site was then drone searched, and in the field they found a bed sheet. Remember when I said that a bed sheet was missing from the master bedroom? One of these missing sheets, it was found in the garbage bin of the kitchen. However, a matching sheet was found in this field. It was very strange. So they continued searching the field. Back in the interrogation room, Chris was being pressured. They were saying we need to know the truth, and he just kept denying everything. He eventually admitted to the affair, but then the police said that they should leave Nicole out of this because they think she has nothing to do with it. Very strange. So after about 5 hours of this, Chris said that he's going to tell the truth, but he needs to make a call to his father. They allowed Chris to make the call, and then he came back and his story turned really dark. Chris claimed that on the morning of August 13th, he got into a heated discussion with his wife about separation. He then left the master bedroom, went downstairs, started getting ready for work, and when he came back to the bedroom, he did not see his wife. When he looked over on the baby monitor, he saw his daughter, Bella, sprawled out on the bed with the covers down. He rushed to the baby's room and he saw his wife strangling Cece, and she was blue in the face. He got into a rage and he strangled Shannon and he killed her. He then loaded his wife and his children into his truck. He drove to this oil site. He buried Shannon in a shallow grave, and then he took his 2 girls and essentially stuffed them into the oil tank. They then showed Chris a picture that they took of the oil site from the drone and asked him to point out where exactly the bodies were. Chris was then arrested and taken into custody. The police recovered the bodies, and the autopsy revealed that unfortunately Bella fought for her life. So this small child had bruised gums and she had bit her tongue. It's also speculated that in order for his daughters to actually fit into the oil tank, because the opening was kind of small, he essentially had to stuff them into the oil tank, and Bella had bruising on her shoulder, so he had to. It's just very horrific to think about. While the authorities were retrieving the girls' bodies, there was skin slippage. So that simply means that wherever the men retrieving the bodies like held the girls to pull them up, their skin was just falling off. So at one point in time, one of the girls' hands were degloved, meaning whoever held her and was like lifting her up, her skin was pulled off her hand. It's disturbing. It's really disturbing. Shannon was 15 weeks pregnant when she died. She was 34 years old. Bella was 4 years old, and Cece was only 3. Also, the child that Shannon was carrying was a boy, and she even picked out a name for this baby. She was going to call him Nico. On November 19th, 2018, Chris was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole.
The girls are still in the truck.
Okay.
Did they ask you what you were doing, taking mommy out, or?
Yeah, I don't remember what I told them, but they did ask that.
What they say specifically?
It was more of like, what are you doing to mommy?
Okay. Alright. And then the girls, right? Okay. You mentioned Bella was first. Cece was first, okay. Where exactly was she when it happened?
In the back seat.
Okay. Was she just right next to Bella?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so once again, was it a hand over her face? Was it?
There was a blanket over and my hand.
And then your hand. Okay. And then so that just stopped her from breathing type thing? Okay. Did she struggle at all?
I don't think so, but I was blocking her face and my hand was right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had one hand here and one hand over her mouth?
And were you just pushing her against the back of the seat type thing? Okay. What was Bella doing?
She was sitting there next to it. She didn't know what was going on.
Okay. Could she see you? Okay. Tell me about what you were thinking.
I wasn't. I was thinking it's what happened.
Yeah.
Or any partial hint of what I feel for those girls and what I feel for my wife, but none of this would have happened, so I wasn't thinking.
Okay. So she's in the back seat. Okay. And then once she's gone, then is it Bella next, or did you pull Cece out?
I pulled Cece out.
Okay, so once Cece's gone, Bella's still there in the car alive, and then you pulled Cece out. What'd you do with her? Okay. So she went into the tank, and Bella was still in the back of the truck alive. Okay. With regard to that tank, did you bring up Cece, put her down, open the hatch?
Brought her up, opened the hatch.
And then put her in. Okay. And then went down to Bella. Tell me what happened there.
She said what happened to Cece. Or she asked if it was the same thing, the exact same thing that happened to me as Cece.
Did she ask you that? Okay. So Bella's pretty smart. How did she sound when she asked you that, Chris?
She had that soft voice she always had.
Yeah. And what exactly did she say?
She said that it's the same thing that happened to me at CC. And then I said, I don't even remember what I said.
Okay.
I don't know if I just said yes, like a horrible person, or if I just put that blanket over her too and did the same thing.
Same blanket, same way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She said, no, Daddy. And that's the last thing she said.
Before I give my thoughts on this whole case, I want to talk a little bit about Chris's side chick, Nicole. On August 16th, Nicole went to the police with her dad to confess to the affair. The police, they already knew about the affair. The strange thing is, before she went to the police, she deleted everything. She deleted all of her text messages with Chris. She deleted the pictures with him. She even deleted his contact information out of her phone. She had a close friend that she would often talk about Chris with. She told this close friend to delete all of those messages, right? Then she Googled this side chick that was in a similar position. The man killed his family, blah, blah, blah. She wanted to find out how much this girl made off of a book deal. After she found that out, she then Googled if her text messages that she deleted could be retrieved. And after she did all of this is when she went into the police. No, she wasn't 100% truthful when she sat there and spoke with the police. She said that she did not know that Chris was married and he did not wear his wedding ring, and he eventually told her she didn't even know his wife's name. Chris confirmed that Nicole knew everything from the jump. She knew that he was married and everything, and he believes that she just went to the authorities to say all of this to save face. As it relates to Nicole not even knowing Shannon's name, that was a bold-faced lie, because her search history showed that in September 2017, she Googled Shannon. Like, she went up and she searched for this woman, and this was a few months before the affair started. So that simply means that she knew about her, and I'm sure that her Facebook popped up, which is Shannon's Facebook, and everything was on Shannon's Facebook. The kids were there, Chris was there, everything. It's also speculated that Nicole was the one that pursued Chris, and based on the internet search, I believe that as well. Because come on, if you like somebody, the first thing you're going to do is Google this person. After everything came to light, Nicole got fired. She moved. She probably changed her name and changed her appearance just to disassociate herself from this case, which is understandable. The police also did not pursue any charges against her or investigate her any further to see if she was involved in all of this mess. I often wonder if she was pressuring him to leave his wife or anything like that, and that's what kind of led up to all of this. And you know, my thoughts on this situation are my usual thoughts. If you want to leave, just leave. Like, pretty shitty for him to be having an affair and everything, but Shannon gave him a way out. She told him, listen, if you want to go, you can go. But he made the decision to still stay with this woman. I'm guessing he didn't want any attachment. He didn't want any responsibilities. That's why I'm guessing he decided to do what he did, which is very awful when you think about it. Especially the children, and knowing that Bella saw him strangle her sister and coming towards her, and this is her father that is supposed to protect her, and this is what he's doing. Like, the whole thing is just sick. It is just sick and freaking twisted. How did he think he was even going to get away with this? Like, his whole family just up and disappear, and he just felt as if nobody's going to question it, nobody's going to investigate it. Like, you are going to be the first suspect. Like, come on. Like, he's just stupid. He's so freaking stupid. Anyways guys, that is it for the video. As per usual, the links to my sources will be in my description box. Y'all can go and read up on the case for yourself. Also leave a comment with your thoughts. I want to hear those opinions. I want to hear those thoughts. I want to hear everything. And remember, when you leave a comment, you can get a chance to win some credits. I do my credit giveaways every Friday. I just choose a random video. So just leave any comment that you want to, and you might just be the lucky person to get some credits. Okay? So remember to be a beautiful soul, not only a gorgeous face. And until I see you next time, peace out. Hi everybody, oh shoot. Oops. Let me put this shiznick on silent.